What's up, YouTubers? I'm here at the mall getting a local coffee. I'm at Nadex Trades. It's a new mall in Shayla. There's also a new coffee shop right across, or right behind me. Normally I go to Cafe, but today I decided to go back to Nadex Trades. It's actually pretty good. Anyhow, I'm just going to make a few comments on Nadex. This last week, I have a strategy that trades Monday through Friday. Normally, if it's a limit order. If it gets filled, you can get filled and win. Usually, on average, once a week. This last week, I had two fills and 2 wins, and then last week I had 3 fills and 3 wins, which is 5 in a row. But I checked my records. I won 6 in a row. So if you're an aggressive trader, I'm not recommending you to do this, but and on a small account this wouldn't work. But I took a small account from 350 up to 800, so I'm pretty impressed. Now there's losses in there, but like I said, the last 6 wins have been 6 wins in a row, and this is the kind of strategy that is pretty sticky, and that there's a lot of wins in a row. Like a lot of times, on average, 9 to 12 a year. This is why if you trade it aggressively, if you have a bigger account, like for example, instead of trading 1 contract, after you win a contract, you trade 2. Then if you win that one, trade 4 on the next one. You're doubling each contract, and then 8, 3 times in a row. The probabilities of winning that are actually pretty high. You will lose some. I've done it before, but not on this trade. This is a euro pound trade I do. The euro dollar trade I do 5 days a week, but it hasn't really triggered. This euro pound trade, it's really easy. It doesn't have to go up or down. It's just you go back 12 hours and 12 hours Eastern time, and if it's below that at 12 noon the next day Eastern time, you go long. If it's above the price, you just short it. It's pretty simple, and because it's on Nadex and it's a option, a binary option, and it's a 1-hour trade. I do all my trades, not all of them, but most of them in the money. So I'm willing to pay up to $57. But like I said, it has to get filled, and I always buy it at that 12 noon, 2 pips in the money or more. A lot of times it's 8 or 9 pips. So many times it doesn't get filled. So you need volatility to fill it. Anyways, now on Nadex you have to pay $1 to buy and $1 to sell. Used to be just $1 to buy, and if you let it settle, they didn't charge you $1, but now they do. But when it fills at 43, that's $57 for when you're shorting it. In any case, you make $41 after fees. So if you have 1 win, that'd be $41. 2 wins, be 80. And then 4, if you did it a third time, you bet 4 contracts and you won all 3 in a row, you'd have let's see, 160, 80, and 40. It's a nice chunk of change, but this is not a really extremely high win rate. That's why mostly I don't trade anything else. And it was just an experiment to see if I could take a $350 account up, double it. It's more than double. I'm going to keep trading it, but even though it's close to 800 or close to 1,000, I'm not going to trade 2 contracts yet. I'll wait till it's 1,000 or more. Because now basically I'm trading 10% of the account, whereas when I was trading 350 with 1 contract, that's about 20-25% of the account. And I did actually lose quite a few, not in a row, but that's what I like, because there's not very many losses in a row. Usually 1 loss and then a win, sometimes 2 in a row, but that's really, really rare. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to say about that. Well, the other thing is, well, I won't comment on that, but anyways, I have other trading accounts I was going to comment on, but I'll comment on that another time. Another topic I want to bring up is lately on Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook groups on how to retire into Mexico, and if you follow those groups, there's more and more dissenting views, and those people get kicked out of Facebook. When I mean dissension, they're talking about the violence, the robberies, the kidnappings, things you generally won't find in the news. Not always, unless you understand Spanish, you won't see them in the news much. But they're there, but not all of them. A lot of kidnappings, violent attacks, robberies never get reported. Anyways, there's more and more talk about that because it's starting to affect a lot of gringos in San Miguel de Allende. It's kind of starting in Puerto Vallarta, and then Mazatlan. Now, I haven't heard much in Mazatlan. I don't think it's affecting things very much. But in San Miguel, that's where the majority of expats live. And then on the lake in Chapala, Lago Chapala, and Ajijic. That's been creeping in for years, though, as far as Ajijic goes. But people thought San Miguel de Allende was off limits. They thought, not Acapulco, everyone knows about there, but Cancun, that whole area, if you've been watching the news, violence has been creeping up quite a lot there. Anyways, there's now more and more groups, and I forget the name of the one I belong to, but it's where people post all their horror stories, getting kidnapped, getting taken down by the police. In fact, in Baja California, there's more people getting, I don't know how else to say it, but shaken down by the police for complaining about restaurant service. Well, there was a guy, it wasn't a restaurant service, but there's a restaurant owner who left garbage outside his establishment. He called the police, which was dumb in my opinion. He complained, and then next thing you know, he's getting arrested and he's in jail. That's why I always advise people to kind of keep a low profile and be flexible and don't be, I mean, I'm not going to complain about stuff like that in Mexico. Not even really here, because that's just how people do it. They dump the garbage in the road and then they pick it up. Not every place is like that, but anyways, this young fellow got in an argument with the owner. It got kind of heated, so then he went down to the police and made a complaint. My whole point of all this stuff is don't do that. And then my other point is don't get in heated debates with locals if you have a disagreement. Then my other point is, this is a larger point, if you're going to retire expat into Mexico with the increase in kidnappings, especially gringos, and I can assure you, I can just say I'm aware of gringos who never make a video or never talk about getting kidnapped, ever. So, it happens more than you realize. I'm not saying it's way out of control, but people are saying that. I think it's hard to know. It's really, really hard to know. I just think we're in a period when these things are escalating because the economy's slowing. So if you're going to expat into Mexico, my opinion would be live in the Cancun area, Quintana Roo, towards Chiapas, that part of the country, kind of the eastern part, or the more Mayan part, because it's generally speaking safer there. And then, again, this is only my opinion. I'm not interested in owning real estate in Mexico or a business. Having electronic bookkeeping entries you can wire out of the country in 2 minutes or in a couple hours, that's different. Even then, I wouldn't have a bank account there in my own name because it's just too risky, because the tellers get to talking, or they sell your information, or someone asks about it, or a high-level bank employee sells your information to someone. Next thing you know, you're getting targeted. If you own a house, that house is not going to be yours anymore. And oh yeah, that's another thing. There's been a big rise in the cartels running houses like Airbnbs, and then they dispose of bodies there and then they find them later. I guess for whatever reason, that's kind of a new thing now. So people are going into homes and smelling bad smells and then having an investigation into it. And there's neighbors smelling bad smells but won't go to the police because they're pretty aware of what happens, and no one wants to be the one complaining about a house that's locked down tight where there's a bunch of dead bodies in it. In this article, or this thing I came across, they were in the walls or in the ground, everywhere. So that's kind of a reason I wouldn't live there. Visiting and going on vacation is one thing. Anyways, don't own assets in your name in Mexico if you're going to expat there. Not meaningful. By that I mean 5 or 10 grand. Even that's pretty dangerous. Keep your assets in another country in an LLC or an SA corporation where your name's not attached to it. And my other advice would be, don't buy a house and don't have a brick and mortar business there. Gringos are now getting hit. There's been article after article after article of gringo businesses specifically getting hit, and people just pack up their bags and leave. They pay whatever they got to pay, and then they just disappear because they don't want any hassle. And once that happens to you, you can never pay enough and make a profit. Just ask people in Central America who pay the Maras. Anyways, I just want to do an update. What's the goings on in Mexico? I've been having really good success doubling the account with Nadex. I might start doing that again. I didn't want to mention, but my other account, I'm down 3 or 4 grand, which is no big deal, but I was up that 3 or 4 grand a couple days ago. So when you're using leverage, it can bite you in the ass. That's one of the advantages of using options. So I'm leaning more and more toward just trading options. But anyways, I'm just going to keep building up this small account. I wanted to document it, but my screen share software just isn't working right. Just as an example to show people, like if you have a side gig or a small pension, you have like a couple $1,000s, you can build that up if you're willing to trade aggressively to 5 or 10 grand in a year, sometimes less, sometimes more. So you can have emergency savings or extra savings to travel on, emergency savings for medical care or whatever you got. I'm trying to want to provide more ways for people to build up capital and have emergency money. Not necessarily live on, but that's what I do, but it's not for everyone. But just have a kind of a side gig where they're not taking money out, where they can make long-term trades or short-term trades, but over a long period of time, build up a capital. And I've been studying Bitcoin. Some of the easier ways to make money before all gone, or at least that's what I'm aware of. I'm in no way an expert, and I'm trying to figure out a way to make money in Bitcoin, not by trading it, which is my forte. I may trade Bitcoin and altcoins, but I'm not interested in posting stuff about that. And I'm more interested in posting how the blockchain works, how to actually make money off the blockchain, but by not holding it long, you know, buying it at 10,000, selling at 12, but actually how to make money off the blockchain where you don't have to actually speculate or trade it. I'm not against it, I just not as interested in talking about stuff like that. Anyways, if I come up with anything, I'll maybe post something. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. And I'd appreciate it if you leave a comment if you have any questions about Guatemala, or if you ever are trading in general. I can't answer too many in depth because most of the channel doesn't really care for it, but anyhow, if I can be of service, I'll try to be of service. Anyhow, like the video, share it. Thank you.